Welcome back to WCS America and to game number 2 between Catz and the STC. Let's go ahead and hop into Daedalus Point, where we can see spawning in the top left-hand corner of the map the blue Zerg player representing Team Root with his happy Carbot pictures. It is El Capitan. It is Catz. His opponent down in the bottom right, the red Terran player trailing 0-1 after a very impressive showing on Yonsu. It is the STC.
We appreciate all you guys joining in on the conversation over at Twitter and Facebook.
Yep. And please continue in doing that. Send us your tweets at StarCraft, at Mr. Bitter TV, at Greetorp. We want to hear your predictions on the day. Anybody that sends me correct predictions, I might just happen to send you a Steam game later today. I've got a couple of extra Steam gifts sitting around. I thought, hey, why not give them away on a StarCraft broadcast? So send us your predictions for who you think is going to win the games. Send us the match scores as well. And I will send you prizes if you're lucky. Also, please, guys, get over on Facebook, facebook.com/StarCraft, and click that like button. Show them some support for their support of WCS, because none of this would be happening without the great folks at Blizzard and their contributions to the esports scene. Looks like a one Rax with the gas opening here for the STC, so he's going to be going with the early Reaper, I suspect. Super standard. Catz is going hatch first, which is also super standard. Daedalus is a tricky map in most matchups, but I kind of like it in ZVT. A very open center gives the Zerg player a lot of opportunities to engage. The one thing that kind of stinks is how spread out these bases are, which can make defending drops kind of tricky.
That's kind of what Terran wants to do. Go into that later game stage. Just think about taking a 5th base or a 6th base. Pretty much impossible for the Zerg player. I mean, there's so many different ways that you could put pressure on your opponent with drops, with just straight up attacks. Widow Mines could be anywhere in the cross paths. So there's a lot of different things that you can do as a Terran player at that end game stage. The trick is getting to that end game stage. How do you take a 4th base without being run into with the Zergling Baneling and just Banelings crashing on your PF?
Yeah.
That's really frustrating as a Terran.
First Reaper is out on the map right now for the STC, who looks like he's once again going to go ahead and expand on the low ground, so unafraid of the potential for the same kind of shenanigans Catz showed in game number 1. He just throws that CC right down. His Reaper Scout's going to see, hey, it's a hatch first this time, so I definitely don't have to worry about it.
Difference is that Drone Scout, right? You saw the Drone Scout come out. Propensity to go some sort of build like that is very low.
Good control by Catz, keeps his first drone alive as he begins chasing away the Reaper. How many lings did Catz make? Looks like he only made 4. A couple more about to come out, and this Reaper's going to be as annoying as it possibly can be, but once the queens pop out, it should be game over for that kind of harass. Good scout, though, nonetheless, for the STC. Sees what's up, sees that the gas has been taken, sees that lings are no longer mining, knows that ling's speed should be finishing up in about, oh, I don't know, 60 more seconds or so. 6:15-ish.
Just standard stuff so far.
Yep, and he actually manages to snipe off a drone.
Shouldn't really happen. Cat's being a little bit too careless there.
Yep. Daedalus is one of the harder maps to get drones down to the natural on, so that's a good, very aware play from the STC, saying, hey, I'm going to see if I can catch a drone transfer, and actually managing to do so. 3rd command center already building for our Terran player, who's going to be playing the very heavy macro game. Wants to make sure that he's got the most money possible so that he can make the most stuff possible. Marine Marauder, Medevac, Widowmine, these are the common culprits in the matchup these days.
It's probably the safest opening, too. I mean, you're starting out really understanding everything that your opponent can do. Now he's going to drop back at 6 minutes, because, as you said before, that metabolic boost is about to finish, and he will be pretty defensive.
Yep.
Until enough Hellions come out, of course.
That's his trigger. Off the map because ling speed is a very dangerous thing, but we do see a continued commitment to that Hellion production, and the Hellion Reaper harass is no doubt soon to be coming into play. Catz is going to go ahead and take his 3rd base now that his ling speed has finished, which is also just the norm in the current meta.
That's right.
Something that Chinese Zerg players have been doing that I really like is they'll get to this point in the game right now where they've got 2 saturated bases, and usually they're working on 2 gases, not just 1. And then they'll make a ton of lings, and they'll throw a big Zergling Baneling attack at the Terran opponent. And it's really easy to look at, well, as they take a 3rd, I should say. So they put the 3rd down, they don't saturate it. And they make a ton of lings and banelings, and they throw it at the Terran player. And I think it's really easy to look at an attack like that and say, oh, this is so all in. If you do 0 damage, you're going to be so far behind. But also, just because of the way Terran plays these days, look at what the STC has. It's so only greedy. Reapers and Hellions. It is so greedy. There are no Widow Mines. There are no Siege Tanks. It's a great way to punish that kind of greed.
Yeah.
And it's something that I've been experimenting with in my own play, and I'm having a lot of fun with and a lot of success with.
Because you rely so much on those Hellions at the beginning stage. What if your Hellions pop out and there's a Baneling Zergling attack coming down right now?
Yep.
You still have your Queens in the background that are defending, and at the same time, you have this immeasurably strong attack that could just win the game.
Yep. Unfortunately, that's not what Catz is going for this time, and instead he's being forced to make some defensive Zerglings reactively. But he hasn't taken too much damage. He lost a Queen, but he made extra Queens for the purpose of creep spread, and no doubt for the purpose of just this kind of defense. Here we do see him setting up a little bit of a Zergling counterattack, but the STC looks like he's already preparing for this. He's seen the speedlings. He knows that Catz has no doubt been forced to make some reinforcements. He's got a bunker back at home. So there's very little chance of this doing a whole lot of damage. He might be able to kill an SCV or two. But he's not going to get more than that.
But yeah, he barely got a mule. But he gets nothing.
Yep.
Sad face.
Sad face for Catz, who's, you know, frankly, I would say a little bit behind at this point in the game. That third command center is done. The STC is getting upgrades. He's getting +1 armor, +1 ranged attack, +1 combat, not +1 combat shields, just combat shields. And STEM is already complete, so the STC is in great shape. This is exactly the kind of game the STC wanted to play. And Catz is going to be forced to kind of be on the back foot a little bit. When a ZVT in the current meta gets to this stage, it's usually about the Zerg player weathering the oncoming Terran storm for as long as they possibly can.
Yes.
Let's go ahead and hop into the STC's cam and just see how he plays this out. Mostly it's going to be sitting back and macroing up while using those Hellions for map control.
He has this 1-1 timing that normally all Terrans use. You pop out with a lot of Marines, you get your medevacs out at the same time, and you're able to put on a lot of pressure and weather the storm. Now, Zergs will normally have 1-1, but this time around, Catz not opting for that at all. He likes the +1 Carapace to keep him safe in the early game and say, I'm not even going to worry about your +1 armor. I'm just going to try to get the Baneling connections to stop any attacks.
The STC is moving out for that first initial timing. Catz morphing only his first Banelings now. 7 Banelings in production. The Spinecrawler is going to go down immediately. Does Catz have enough units to really contend with this? He's got 24 Lings. His Banelings are going to die before they're morphed. This is terrible for Catz, who has just been caught, frankly, completely unprepared. The Banelings finally wiggle in, but do very little damage. The Ling count, however, high enough to repel the initial attack, and Catz doing surprisingly okay there.
Could be worse, could be better type of deal. But Catz will have a little bit of trouble just clearing out this drop, as there's going to be an increased amount of things.
This is the tricky part here. Once the attacking starts from the Terran player, it really never stops. And this is what we mean when we say weathering the storm. The STC still has this drop active, and Catz now has to deal with this too, a second wave to the attack. His Spire's not out yet, so he doesn't have a real good answer to the medevacs. And these Marines with 1-1 with STEM with combat shields, oh no! They're gonna take out the +1 upgrade for the Zerg player. And just going to load up and get out of there immediately. Widow Mine's getting a good connection at the same time. Drop alive in the back. The spawning pool has been focused, and it is going to go down. That means no Ling production for Catz. He's got nothing that he can make right now.
And mutas are going to be the only option, but
this is bad news bears.
He's having a ton of trouble now. He will have his +2 Carapace finished. 2-2 is normally the time where things stabilize incredibly for the Zerg, but it's 0-2, so it's not going to be nearly as effective. You're still relying on Banelings to keep you defensive, and that doesn't exist because there's already Widow Mines on top of creep. He's not able to deal with those, and another flood of units already surging forward with 2-2 on the way.
Yeah, this is really rough for Catz. He can't really make anything. He's got a few Mutalisks in production, but doesn't even matter without Zergling support. His spawning pool is only now finishing, and the STC just executing this brilliantly. Catz trying to play the straight-up macro game, and it did not go well at all. Perhaps we could say it could not have possibly gone worse. Queen in the main base going to go down. Drones in the main base going to go down. Finally, Catz is able to reinforce with some Speedlings, but it's going to be a while still before they hatch. And look, still more reinforcements. Every single time Catz defends, the next wave of attack comes out. And This is so incredibly difficult to deal with as a Zerg player. Just the most infuriating Terran style to play against, I feel, as it's just never-ending. Relentless attacks.
He can't even clear up the... Look at the 2 Widow Mines over on the right-hand side right here. 7 kills and 6 kills each. I mean, well, it's a lot more now.
Yep, indeed it is. 9 kills, 14 kills, 2 kills, and, well, 0 for now as Catz does crash into that with some Lings and some Banelings and some Mutas, and maybe, just maybe, he will buy himself a moment's respite. But it does not look like it's going to go that way.
Ooh.
There's more Widow Mine shots connect. Medevacs do get peeled off, but look, man, it doesn't stop dropping in the back of the natural, pushing once more with the next wave of reinforcements. Widow Mines still out basically in mass. There's just no real answer that Catz can come up with. He's forced to play a terribly defensive game. He's down 155 supply to 90. And it's just, it's not going to end anytime soon, Andre.
No, it is not. I mean, those are 2-2 Marines right now against 0-2 Zerglings. Not going to do anything. GG. The STC will take game number 2.
Yep.
We could talk a lot about Catz's build in that particular game, but long story short, it doesn't cope with the very standard play from the STC.
The STC just played better. And obviously the real key, picking off the spawning pool, doing the right amount of damage with the +1 timing. Unfortunate that it went that way for Catz, but he's going to have to find a